Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm sorry I've been missing for a few weeks. I had all these wonderful plans for my Entering 30 series, but look, I am the type, if I'm not doing 100% mentally and emotionally, I will ghost everything in my life without second thought. And that's all right. So we're back. We are going to be doing part 7, I believe, in my Entering 30 series. I'm just finishing putting some makeup on and then I'm gonna head out. I have to run out for a few things and I thought it's a perfect day to chat about all the lessons that my 20s taught me. I am very excited to share with you. So as I go about my day and do all the things, let's chat and grow together. Look for the day. It's so crazy when you actually take the time to reflect on the years that have passed, and especially if you're moving into a new decade. I mean, reflecting on a decade is, oh my gosh, it's like your life really does flash before your eyes because so much takes place and happens within the span of 10 years. It's wild. And really, when I think of all the ways that I feel like I've stepped into this new embodiment of who I am, this new embodiment of peace and living life to my fullest expression, I have been trying to really compile these profound lessons I've learned, which is so hard because there's so many. But the first one that has just helped to shift so much for me is that simple reminder that life is not one day when. Life is not when everything comes together. Life is not when there are no problems and you have a house and a yard and millions of dollars and all these perfect, beautiful relationships. That is not when life begins. Life is this journey. Life is the experience of all of it. And if you're waiting for one day when in order to live and experience your life, then you'll always be waiting. You will always assume that something better is coming and that it's not worth being present today. But being present in every single moment of your experience is what life is. And the biggest lesson, the biggest teacher in that to me is the teacher of death. And that might sound morbid to some people, but those of you who have experienced grief and loss would probably agree with me when I say that death is the most beautiful teacher of life. I had a mutual friend who I just got to know so briefly at the beginning of the year pass away 2 days ago, and so life and death is just heavy on my heart, and the emotions and feelings that come with that frailty of life, and the reminder that life is so profoundly short. If we are not present here and now, we are always going to be waiting for a moment in time that is outside of us to make us happy and fulfilled when everything is truly within us. So I am headed to Hobby Lobby because I've been extracting some herbs and they are ready to be put into dropper bottles and become tinctures. So I thought I had enough bottles, but I don't. So I'm gonna go see if they have any, and then I'm also gonna see if they have labels. And yeah, that's what I'm gonna go do. my gosh, I just had the cutest encounter. Okay, so let me set you up. Got to the counter, and so precious. The lady commented on my hair, was talking about how beautiful it was, and then the customer beside me started commenting on my hair. And so I said to them, which I haven't told you guys, but I have an appointment, a hair appointment in a couple days to cut it, because it has been like this long for so many years, and I'm turning 30 in a couple days, and I'm ready for that change. And it was just so cute. They were all like, as I was leaving, probably like 6 people in the store were like, happy 30th, like as I was leaving. Gosh, I just love precious humanity moments. Okay, I have everything I need to put these into their dropper bottles so that they can be used, but I'll show you everything I'm using to do this. These are my 2 extracts. One is a blend, and one is just one root, which is ashwagandha. And both of these are just herbs that I happen to have on hand. It wasn't something I necessarily planned for. I have some of my bottles here. Got these bigger ones earlier today. I got these smaller ones. We've got some cheesecloth, and then I also have my gloves. Okay, so here's what I ended up with. The ashwagandha tinctures, and here is the blend. I had a little extra, and I need to clean some more droppers, so I just left that in a jar for now. But look at that. And here is how I typically like to take my tinctures. Get some ice, grab a yummy beverage. I've been loving this Italian blood orange soda. Grab your tincture. And cheers. Little herbal mocktail. To go into a bit more of what I felt like my 20s really were for me, it really was a reflection of stepping into my truth, growing through the phases that you need to go through in order to blossom. And I feel like that in so many ways was my 20s. Thinking back to being 20 years old, at the end of that year was when I got married, which is crazy to think of. But I really didn't know myself then. I didn't feel secure in who I was, in the woman I was, and what I had to offer the world. I had so many fears and felt so self-conscious of so many things. And, you know, being so young, being 20 years old, you're really just navigating and figuring out life. You're spreading your wings, and that was so much of my 20s, and going through tragedies and loss and coming up against really difficult seasons and challenges, and then also exploring and adventuring in the world and seeing more and getting my eyes split right open into so many other things that I didn't know about, understanding conditioning, understanding why we are where we are today in society, what makes us do what we do, what makes us build relationships like we do, what makes us operate in these ways. Having the opportunity to open my eyes and understand these things on a deep level, that was my 20s. It was like this complete shattering and unraveling of what I thought to be myself, only to keep getting closer and closer to my true self. And that's what I feel like I'm entering into when it comes to being 30. It feels like I have touched and got to know who I truly am, and I feel so certain in that. And really, some of those catalyst lessons in my 20s that got me to where I am today are understanding that we are all operating in our own reality bubble. We are not all living in the same reality. Our life experience and what is in front of us is just a reflection of what's within us. Our external world and how we experience it is a reflection of our internal world. And our internal world is made up of how we were raised, the environments we were a part of, the communities we were a part of, the society we were a part of, and what we were taught because of that, our beliefs, our emotional landscape, the traumas we've gone through, our past experiences. Those are all what makes up our internal landscape. If you're not aware of that, then you will go on for so much of your life wondering why you react in certain ways, why you're doing what you're doing, why you keep falling into the same cycles. But when you start to understand it's all based on what you were conditioned to be on the inside, then it can help you to reflect on, okay, why am I this way? How did I come to be the way I am today? In a great way to kind of deepen your understanding of self and what's happening internally is to pay attention to your triggers, to really understand that your triggers are just your body and emotions way of indicating something to you, indicating a pain point within you and nudging you to reflect on that, to release what that is, and to grow in a new direction so that ultimately you can experience life in a better and more enjoyable way. I think that was actually a huge thing that clicked for me also in my 20s, was really understanding like it's not about living up to being a good person or being enlightened or being all of those things that we try to achieve and become. It's really not about that. Learning about your emotions, meditating, going on the journey of self-discovery, having self-love and self-compassion and being kind to others and understanding with other people. All of those things are ultimately for you to have a more enjoyable experience of life. So when you shift that, instead of doing it for some like moral upstanding achievement, and you shift it to understanding that it's just to help you have a more enjoyable experience, it kind of takes the edge off, because it can be quite exhausting trying to live up to becoming something, becoming better, becoming this like top tier version of yourself, when it's like, no, I'm getting to know myself, I'm journaling, I'm reading, I'm discovering all these things about my life and about living so that I can just enjoy this a bit more. You know, we have this one life to live. I don't want to be climbing an uphill battle every day and be drowning in my own pain and sorrows. I don't accept that for myself. And really practicing presence, practicing being fully present and aware, helped me to unlock all of those possibilities in my own life. It helped me to really see things more clearly, see things without all the noise and complication that we seem to put on everything. It has helped me to really step back and observe from a different perspective and make better choices for myself that ultimately just help me to enjoy my day-to-day life. Another one of the biggest breakthrough lessons I had in my 20s was really understanding my own emotional experience. Understanding that emotions are not bad. It's not bad to be an emotional person, and it is actually just part of my makeup and who I'm meant to be in this world. I am a feeler. I'm a deep, deep feeler. And sometimes that can feel like it's at my own detriment, like I'm destroying everything in my way because of these emotions I feel. But instead of being so upset about it or taking on shame or guilt for feeling emotions or for emotions coming up, I have learned more about really sitting with myself, understanding what emotions really are, and understanding the root of emotions more than anything, understanding what these might be arising because of, and that often has to do with your past and your conditioned self, the way you have been trained to live life and experience life. And most of those things aren't healthy or good for your experience. Often those things are blocking you from experiencing more fullness and fulfillment in life and really becoming your truest self. And so when I was able to see emotions in a different landscape and also understand the importance of taking honest responsibility for myself, that's such a huge one. If we can't look at ourselves honestly, if we can't notice when we're being dramatic and manipulating others because we're trying to get our way, if we can't be honest about judging others, if we can't be honest about all those things that come naturally to us as humans that we all do within us, if we are just constantly denying that we ever take part in any kind of dysfunction, then that's more of the problem. We need to take honest responsibility in our life, and it's so freeing when we can. I absolutely love Kendrick Lamar as an artist, and his latest album to me was such a good reflection of that. He was really just showing his human experience and being honest about it and taking responsibility for all these things he feels, and it didn't mean he had solutions to it necessarily. He was just sharing, like, dude, this is my experience, and this is what I'm doing sometimes, and this is what it's like. And I think that is so valuable and important to do in life. To not be ashamed, to not be guilty for being human and experiencing normal human emotions and thoughts and judgments, but to recognize it and to actually look at yourself in the mirror and be honest and say, hey, am I doing this? Often we judge others the most in the areas that are actually reflected back in us. So I want you to start noticing where judgments come up about other people, and I want you to take that judgment, sit with yourself, be like, okay, I'm judging this person right now, but then flip it back on you and say, what is it about me that feels triggered in order to judge this? Does that make sense? Usually we are like walking, talking contradictions. And so honest reflection and taking honest responsibility can help those things rise to the surface, release, and free you from the entanglements that can bring in life. We have so much power within us to completely transform our life. And we often don't, because we're so worried about what the people around us are going to say. We're worried about disappointing others, hurting others. And of course, you don't want to hurt other people's feelings, but you have to understand in life, there are decisions that you have to make for yourself. This is your experience of life. If you are constantly living in a way where you're about to snap because you're just saying yes to everyone else except yourself, then something's wrong. And at the end of the day, that is up to you to decide how you want to experience your day-to-day life. But you do have the power to shift that, to take another path. I think one of the most ridiculous things that we do in society and in culture is judge one another for changing our mind. I think changing your mind is such an important practice. It's okay to change your mind, to say yes to something and then say no to it tomorrow because you thought on it and you don't feel like it's the direction for you. I think it's also so important to recognize that everything you could possibly dream of is possible as long as you believe it is possible. As humans, as a species of Homo sapiens, what sets us apart is this crazy, beautiful imagination that we have. And we can use that power to harness what we desire in life, to draw in the reality we want to experience. And we can do that with our words and with our thoughts and with our visions. We can manifest our dreams by focusing on those things, by drawing those things in. The moment you start to believe and subscribe to the notion that you're not good enough, you can never achieve that. This is always going to be hard. You're never going to find a best friend. You're never going to find a spouse, or you are never going to have a healthy family dynamic. As soon as you subscribe to those things, you will always find ways to confirm those beliefs, and therefore you will always experience that. But when you look at what beliefs you're subscribing to, what notions you are saying yes to, and you really look at, hey, is this what I want to experience? Do I want to experience a life with an unhealthy family dynamic and no friends and a hard work life? Absolutely not. Of course not. Who would want that? Well, then it's time to shift those beliefs and believe that it is possible to have an easy workflow and easy friendships. It is possible to meet new people that connect with you on a soul level. You can quite literally create and experience the life you've always dreamed of. You can achieve anything you put your mind to. You can be who you feel that you are at your core. You can. And, I feel like if I dove into every single lesson that my 20s taught me, this would be 3 to 5 hours long. I went through a lot in my 20s, just like I feel like we all do. And I had to learn how to create boundaries. I had to learn how to use my voice. I had to learn how to use my no well and my yes well. And I had to learn how to hold space for another human in a way that I would want reciprocated. I had to learn how to express myself even if it wasn't understood or received. I had to learn how to speak my truth even if it wasn't received. I've had to learn how to navigate grief and all the emotions that life throws at you. And I am just so grateful to be where I am today and to be enjoying my last 2 days in my 20s. It's funny, I was talking to my dad the other day on the phone and I was like, I'm not prepared. I don't know why I feel like I'm not ready. I don't know what that is, but it's those birthday expectations that just creep up. It's like, what do I need to prepare for this day? I don't need to prepare anything. I just need to show up and be present and experience it, just like all of life. But, those birthday expectations start a knocking and you're like, why do I feel like I didn't pack my toothbrush? Anyways, thank you so much for making it this far. If there was anything I wanted to leave you with at the end of this video, is just to keep trusting your journey. Remember that life is the whole process. It's not about becoming happy. It's not. It's about all of it. It's about embracing and accepting every single moment that comes your way, navigating it as best as you can, and having so much compassion and love for yourself in the process, because we aren't taught how to handle life, really. And so we got to navigate it ourselves, and just trust that even if you're in a season where there's a lot of tension because you're not where you want to be yet, just trust that this is a very important phase in that process. There's so many phases in the journey that you have to pass through, and just trust that you are in the phase that you need to be in, okay? So trust yourself, trust the direction you're going, and just remember that at any moment you can step into your truth more and more. You can let go of anything that feels heavy, and you can create the life you desire to live and the experience that feels most enjoyable to you. I would love to know, if you've made it this far, what a lesson from the last 10 years that comes to mind has been for you. Leave it in the comments. Let me know the life lesson that has stuck with you. Mwah. Thank you so much for being here and for listening, and I will see you next time.